Mzansi's MMA show is back. It's the show with the South African comedians and the proud African branding. And as such, we would like to congratulate our brother Francis Ngannou on becoming the UFC heavyweight champion and therefore the baddest man on the planet on Sunday. We've also updated our graphics to celebrate this fact. UFC 260 was a great card, and if you were a greedy and inexperienced betting man like myself, you would have bet on previous heavyweight champion and most successful champion Stipe Miocic and would have gone for that big payday. But if you were a more calculating and experienced betting man like my partner Prince, you would have bet on Francis and would now be in the position to say, I told you so. So come on, Prince, have at it. What did you think of the fight?
I thought Francis Ngannou did exactly what I wanted him to do. I don't know, like I feel like in editing, don't forget, this is an editing note. When you're editing, I want you to play a clip of myself from the previous show. A few minor adjustments. Minor adjustment number one, don't come out swinging. You know, he's training with Kamaru Usman. Usman is in his corner. How about the jab this time? Get the timing on the big shots. One of those big ones land, like it's a wrap for you. How about a little bit of takedown defense? You know, all that extra time on the feet for Ngannou is just a long time for Stipe to try and run away from a potential big shot, which is almost inevitable. It's like Francis Ngannou's job was simple here, guys. Simple, simple, simple. In the first fight, two things he didn't have. He didn't have a takedown defense or even a light wrestling game. And point number two, he gassed himself out, finished himself off by being overzealous, over eager to get his hands on the belt. You know what I'm saying? So those two things, Stipe hit him with all his best punches. Stipe didn't knock him out. Stipe wrestled him with his best wrestling. He didn't submit him or end the fight. When he came out and he fixed it in that first round, when you saw him stuff that takedown, in that first round where you saw him not come out in a hurry but just compose himself, that's when I knew. It's not that it was going to be a long night for Stipe. That's when I knew it was going to be a short night for Stipe.
Yeah, I got a sense of dread when I didn't get a message from Betway, our official betting partner, to congratulate me for making a ton of money, which I was hoping for. Where I made my mistake was I was going mostly off the Rosenstrike fight. That was the last fight that stuck out of my memory. If I had to redo it again, I would have probably Googled something like Francis Ngannou's last 10 fights. One of those was Junior Dos Santos, who is a very experienced guy and has been in the heavyweight division a long time.
And it's tough.
It's tough. So if I had thought of how Francis composed himself in that fight, I might have gone with a different thing. But fair play to you and fair play to Francis. That was one of the best heavyweight performances I've ever seen in my life. It was frightening. It's really scary when you see someone as big as Stipe Miocic just get dropped like a child. It was, I mean,
and even children don't get dropped like that.
Frightening. But great fight, great card as well. Great card.
Yeah.
What did you think of the other fights, and which other fights did you bet on?
Yeah, so just to end off with the Ngannou thing, you know, I watch a lot of Chael Sonnen's videos as well on YouTube. Shout out Chael Sonnen. Placed like a long time ago, but it's in the build up to the whole Stipe and Ngannou type thing. And he did mention that it was frightening to see that Stipe in his fights with DC had lost considerable weight. Do you know what I'm saying? So the first time Stipe and Ngannou fought, I think Stipe came in at about 240 something pounds. Ngannou came in at about 260, I think, or 250, whatever. This time around, during the Cormier fight, Stipe was even lighter. This time around, Stipe came onto the scales at 230 something pounds.
Wow.
And Ngannou came in at 260 some odd pounds. So, I mean, if you look at that alone, it was already warning signs for Stipe. Because if Ngannou doesn't tire himself out, let's just say take out the tiring himself out factor, everything else is difficult. Even if you want to offensively wrestle this guy, it's already even hard to pick up so much of his body mass. Nevertheless, dominating, or you know what I mean? Ngannou just had so much more power, so much more steel, so much more everything. To answer your question, how could Stipe have won? I think he tried to stay away from Ngannou for as long as possible, hoping that as the rounds go on, Ngannou would tire himself. There was nothing really else he could. Just to transition into our next one, we spoke about Stipe rushing in, trying to catch, and that's always a bad thing. And people do that a lot against Amanda Nunes as well. Like they'll get hurt and then try and rush in to try and hurt her back, and it's like, yo man, that's your opportunity to back off, get some oxygen, get some air. And the same thing happened to Tyron Woodley. He also tried to get into a gunfight with Vicente Luque. And yeah, he failed horrible in that department. There was also a point in time where Vicente hurt him. He hurt Vicente first, I believe. Vicente hurt him back. And then he once again tried to inflict hurt on Vicente. And I think Vicente caught him with another one. And from there, it was all downhill. The same thing, just stepping back just for a second sometimes. If Stipe was watching that fight, I think he would have learned that one quick lesson. So, yeah.
I will say one thing about Tyron is he didn't give us a boring fight. So I'll give him props for that. But I think that there's not really much else for him left in the UFC, at least. But I was just pleasantly surprised that it was a exciting fight. In a lot of ways, if you know that your days are numbered, as a fan, I appreciate when you go out and you try and step to the guy.
Throw it in one last time, yeah.
It wasn't the best game plan. It didn't work out for him at all. But I do give Tyron props for at least giving the fans an exciting fight.
Yeah. But doesn't it suck how much he sucks now?
If you're a Tyron Woodley fan, yeah, definitely it sucks. But I'm not one, so it doesn't make a difference to me. I think it's sort of a case of in the division where someone like Tyron Woodley, when he goes on a downward slope, then they just cut him out. So the good news is that he's not in that division giving people a false sense of confidence. Well, hopefully they do cut him from the division. And there aren't people that are fighting him that are like, oh, I beat Tyron Woodley, the ex-champ. I'm great, because I think they'll find when they face their next opponent, they're going to be in for a rude shot. It's almost like Chris Weidman.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. There are some people, when you beat them, we're like, okay, it's like beating Cowboy. It's an achievement, but it's not really an achievement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the other fight that I betted on, so yeah, I'm done with Woodley. I knew he was going to lose the fight. In all intents and purposes, I knew no matter if he came out exciting or whatever the case may be. However, it was the last rodeo, so I did put money on him. And that's the only money I lost for the night because, as you know, I got Ngannou right against Stipe. I also betted on Sugar Shane O'Malley to beat Almeida, I believe it was, which he did in glamorous fashion. So I got 2 out of 3. So I think my betting ratio or odds, or what do they call it, is still positive. I'm still in the positive department.
Yeah, nice work. I mean, as soon as I lost, so my strategy with this whole betting thing, again, I'm a real betting virgin, so take this with a pinch of salt. But my strategy was, since I had success in the last thing, placed 2 bets, won both, I am now going to, as soon as I lose a bet, withdraw some money so that I still feel like I'm taking from the house rather than the house just buying me all the time. I've got the balance that I started with.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't confident enough to bet on any of the other fights. I know that Sugar Shane O'Malley is a talent, but this was the first time that I've seen him use that talent in a protracted space of time. So before he was your one-punch knockout guy, he's working on his brand. So you can see it was quite funny where he would really stun the guy and then he would walk away like
and it's not done.
And the ref's like,
come on,
dude, keep fighting. Protect yourself at all times, bro. So hopefully he's learned his lesson from that. The way he finished
Yeah,
him though was amazing. He wanted to go for
yeah,
the glory walk off again, but
yeah,
then the way he did step
yeah.
in and do that one more shot
The one punch,
was pretty
yeah,
slick.
that
Was
was a
pretty slick.
serious blow. I think it was a very exciting UFC card, and also for myself financially, I think it worked out. And obviously, Tyron Woodley threw me off the balance a little bit, but I think all in all, I think it was a good one. So UFC 261, the three fights we'll be looking at, amongst others, is Kamaru Usman versus Masvidal, defending the welterweight title over there. We have Rose Namajunas taking on Weili Zhang. Weili Zhang, of course, being the champion. She beat up some woman a lot. Shevchenko versus Andrade, also another female fight. So it's a female-dominated card, but damn, is it a good one? Let's start from the bottom, work our way to the top. Would you put money on Valentino Shevchenko versus Andrade? If so, who would you pick and why?
Jessica Andrade or Valentina Shevchenko. I wouldn't bet on that fight. I do know the fighters. I know Jessica Andrade is like a brawler, a scrapper. But I know Valentina Shevchenko is a bit more of a calculating fighter, a bit more of a has the basics down very good. That is why she is the champion. I don't recall her being too decisive. I do know that she likes to sort of wear her opponents out and consistently outscore them over a period of time. Whereas Jessica
Yeah,
Andrade is like a bully. She goes in there, she's in
yeah,
your face, she does a lot of wrestling. But I
yeah.
personally don't know enough about those fighters to confidently put down any money on either of them. What about you?
Sweet. So yeah, just looking at Andrade's fights. My last fight was against Caitlin Shigogan. She won there with a TKO. She's a powerful girl. She dunked Rose Namajunas on her head. She has lost to Rose Namajunas and to Weili Zhang, the champion. So and then she's won a couple of fights, and then the last time she also lost was to Joanna, back in the day, it seems. So I think it's a fairly she's a fairly strong opponent. Um, but Valentina Shevchenko, I mean, who she's fighting against, I mean, she hasn't lost in quite a while. She also beat Caitlin Chukagan, Jennifer Maia. She's beaten Joanna. She's lost to Amanda Nunes. She's beaten Juliana Pena. She's fought Nunes twice actually and lost, but only by split decision and once by decision. So other than that, nobody has messed with Valentina. So honestly speaking, I think if I'm going to be putting money on that fight, I think it would be safe to say Shevchenko's the one.
Shevchenko's the one. So, final word. Are
Yeah,
you going to
Andrade
put money
is
on that fight? Are you going to bet on Shevchenko?
definitely. I don't know how much money I currently have in my account. I know it's not a lot, but I'm definitely willing to put a third of whatever's in there on Shevchenko.
Yeah, I'm also going to go because I've got approximately $100 there. So I think I'm going to do 325 Rand bets.
Yeah, you get certain bonuses, like reward bonuses for betting on more than one fight. So if you bet like on one fight only, you get like a certain payout. But if you bet like on two or more, then they increase your winnings like just a little bit, like 0 point something percent.
Oh shit, I didn't know
But
that.
it helps.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
The other fight also, it was cool reading through all of those stats just now because I saw that Weili Zhang's name comes up quite a lot. It seems to me she's beaten almost both those girls I've talked about, except Shevchenko. I don't think so. Fighting against Namajunas, what do you think about that one?
I'm going to bet 25 Rand on Rose.
You think Doug Rose can come through with the sauce?
She's an underdog, but I think she's got the BMT, and I'm guessing she will be a betting underdog because Weili's the champ.
Also, very interesting. Weili has not lost a fight since her first fight. So her first fight was way back in 2013. She lost on decision, and since then submission, submission, TKO, TKO, submission, KO, TKO, submission, rear naked choke, KO, TKO, submission, TKO, decision. Okay, one decision. Wow, that chick must have fought well. TKO, TKO, submission, decision, submission, decision, TKO against Andrade, decision, split decisions against Joanna. Wei Li just looks unbeatable, doesn't she? I mean,
Yeah,
especially in
so
that fight against Jan Jacek, and Joanna came out with the best game that night, and still Wei Li, she's a machine.
so has Rose been losing her last couple fights?
I'd say in her past, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights, she's won 4, lost 2
Okay.
in her past 6 fights, which is not bad, except for the fact that in her last 6 fights, Wei Li has won all 6. That's the shitty part. So Wei Li's tough, bro. She's tough. Wei Li is like Usman, you know. Wei Li is like Khabib, you know. Like Wei Li is like Piedrian. Like this, they're very difficult to beat, but you have to go above and beyond. And I know Rose has got good like striking and so forth, but yeah, Willie, I mean, she's just she's a machine, man. She's a beast. She even lasted through everything Joanna had to throw at her, and Joanna came with the best kicks, the best punches, the best everything, accuracy, speed. But Whaley just endured all of that. I think it is going to be a hell of a war, but I think Tug Rose has more quit in her than Whaley, I feel.
I haven't seen Rose fight for a while. I'm just basing it purely off how she handled her business against also an undefeated champ in Joanna when she faced her for the first time. So
Yeah.
it'll be one of those greed bets that I hope pay off.
Alright, cool. Cool. So you're going with
I'm going with Rose on this
Rose.
one.
It's not a bad one. It's not actually a bad decision to make, because Rose could definitely get her, because Rose has some crisp ass striking. Do you know what I'm saying? Some crisp ass striking. I just feel like Weili has striking. She has the wrestling. She's one of those champions. Which brings me to Kamaru Usman versus George Masvidal, because
I'm
that
never
is
not betting
also
against a dominant African man ever again in my life. So I'm definitely going with Kamaru on this one.
You're definitely going with Usman on this one.
Yeah, there's no question. Just even if you have to look at his previous, he's been more active than George.
Yeah.
George is a great fighter, don't get me wrong, but I
Yeah.
can't see Usman suddenly going
Usman,
backwards
yes,
in
Usman
performance.
is he's just too good in too many areas. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like Masvidal. Yes, he's a dangerous striker. Yes, he's a wily veteran. Yes, he's got skills on the ground. He's got skills on the feet. He's got skills. But
He's a
Kamaru Usman,
brawler.
like he says, he's a pro. Like Usman says himself, he puts it all together very well. I mean, Usman wrestles well when it's wrestling time. He strikes well when it's striking time. He's good on the cage. He's good off the cage. He's good on the ground. He's good in the corners. He's good at elbows. He's good at knees. He's good at jiu-jitsu. He's good at wrestling. He's got a incredible chin. I mean, like, you can hit Usman with the best of it, and he'll probably recover if you don't go for the finishing touches. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just it's the endurance, just the ability to, even if you are whooping his ass, even if you are ahead, he's just willing to outlast, and he's a tough customer. Never mind the fight IQ, his ability to switch it up in various situations, the ability to wrestle when he's in a bit of striking danger, just to recover and catch his breath, the ability to work a jab, you know, work a game plan, work a leg, work the body. He's just his IQ and work ethic. I do not see Masvidal beating Usman.
And he's switching stances now as well, which makes him even more deadly.
Wow, now he's switching stances as well, and he's popping the most lethal jab that you have ever seen. I mean, the guy he got hit by Covington so many times with punches that should have ended the night, and still he continued fighting and beat Covington, outlasted Covington. That's crazy.
And the weird thing is there are actually not too many more fights in that division for Usman.
Okay, let's have a look at it. So the number one contender at the moment is Kobe Covington. Everyone's saying that if Kobe Covington wants a rematch, he can have a rematch because the first fight was definitely close. Yes, Usman finished him, but many people feel like he's still the number one contender and a rematch is well worth doing.
I personally don't think that Covington's he's going to talk a lot of trash, but I personally don't think he's going to rush into the cage to get his jaw broken again.
Yeah, Usman's a tough night out, right? Why would you want it again? And the result could be the same.
It will be the same.
Do you know what I mean?
I don't see it any different. Let's talk about the other bets for this card. In terms of the top fights for me, $25 on Usman, $25 on Rose, and then look, I will throw $25 on Uriah Hall just because I think Chris Weidman is done. So those are my bets. What are your bets?
You know what? So like I only have a limited amount of money, so I don't know if I should add a fourth bet. Do you think that will like make my winnings smaller if I divide it over like 4, or I should keep it tight on 3? Because I don't mind betting on those top 3 fights. I do think you're right, though. I do think Uriah Hall will beat Chris Weidman, so I might just divide my chickens up in many baskets. And please, if you trust our advice, leave a comment and place your bets. And if you win, please tell us. If you lose, please also tell us so we can know to make much better analysis and reviews and predictions. Thank you for watching. This is Prince the Comedian, and also my partner, of course, in crime, Couch Fred the Ninja. Thank you so much, and like and subscribe. Goodbye.